Hello lovely friends, here's a sneak peek of today's spray painted planets. Thank you so much to my subscribers and my lovely members, I appreciate you so much. This is another Talent Tuesday where Kim and I are getting together and doing whatever we want, so I'm so excited to see what she's got for us this week. So this is the dried planet, and I'll put the link to how I made this with my fluid art at the end of this video, and it will be in the playlist as well in the description, and I'll leave that in the comments below. So this is nice and dried, and I'm just getting my Deco Art spray first of all. Now when I use Deco Art spray, one of the reasons why I use it is it's more solid and it also is easier to wipe off more quickly, whereas with the Montana paints they give a bit more of a haze and you can build them up more gradually. And I'll show you a demo halfway through when I'm doing a spray paint through a stencil to show the difference of the two whites, for example. So I use them as a mixture, and the reason why I'm starting off with that glossy black deco spray is because I don't want to go over part of the side, because I'm really loving how the fluid art has dried on the side of this really deep edge canvas, and so I'm using both the Montana and the deco spray once I'm quite happy with what I've covered. So you can probably see that I'm fiddling around with it a bit more than usual. Quite a few people now in our art community have said they'd love to do planets, and so I wanted to do a bit of a tutorial today to be a little bit more specific about what I do. So once you've got the fluid art piece all dried and it's got that background which feels like a bit of a galaxy vibe, I literally then get my stencil and I start to position it and see where I go. And what I do, how I do that, is I like to have a bit of colour, and I like to spray the planet on the part that I least like. So it's hard sometimes when you like a lot of it. But I also, on this one, I've got quite a lot of the colouring that I do like. So I've decided to go in a kind of row with a large planet, then a middle-sized planet, and then a smaller one down the bottom. And I'll show you what I mean in a minute. And can you see the spray in front of me? The one with the pink and the white, that is just a craft sticky spray. You stick it, you spray it on the back of your stencil, and then you leave it for about 30 seconds, and then you can place it on your dried painting. Make sure it's cured. You don't nothing worse than having a painting that you haven't let dry, and then you start to see parts of the painting come off. So this one needs sticking, but I'm gonna just show you what happens if you don't put the sticky back on. So I tried and I thought, oh, it's got a little bit left, but actually you can't hurry these things, and a lot of the time I'm so impatient to get my spray out and just spray a planet and see what it looks like that yeah, I just lose patience with it. So if you put it on, it just needs a little bit of sticky and it works really nicely. So that's the deco spray, that's how dense it is, and this is the Montana spray, same closeness to the stencil, and you can see it's more graduated, and it's really lovely. Really makes a really nice planet shape. Now the other one would make a great moon, wouldn't it, if I was to give it a bit of a, if I'd put some masking tape over the stencil, and I might come back to that. And also, if you want a planet that's purely one colour and very dense, again the deco spray is brilliant. Now as I'm spraying, you can see that I'm about 4 inches, 3 to 4 inches away from the stencil, if you can see that quite closely, and I'm spraying with my deco spray so it's more dense, and I'm wanting a denser, whiter shade to the planet. It's really quite potent, all the different colours, and I want the colours to really stand out. If I want quite a faded planet, I'll use the Montana, but can you see how bright that white is? It's beautiful, isn't it? And I use my wet wipes just to get rid of any little drips or any bleed that goes through the stencil as I go around. And this dries fairly quickly, but at that point, if you just see any other parts that need a bit of a wipe, just make sure that you use a different part of the wipe each time. So I'm quite happy with that planet. Just need a little bit on the edge there. Have to be really careful, but just think, you know, it doesn't matter too much, because you can always put the stencil down again once it's dry, but you have to wait until it's dry. So there's a bit of white on there from before that was sprayed by Decospray, and you can see how easily it comes off. I don't know if you'll have Montana and Decospray where you are, but if you look at the details and you read what the reviews say, you can pretty much guess to see, you know, what it is. So for example, something like Montana, used by professional spray artists, it's very, very good quality, very high pigmented, and if you watch the videos you can see how the spray lands, and it tends to be that when it's finer and you have to have more layers, it dries more quickly. That's what I've just found. I've tried some other types of spray as well, but I've just come back to these two. Must admit though, the other ones I've tried are house sprays, and they tend to dry quite quickly. So yeah, I mean, it's a personal thing. I've not actually heard any spray artists talk about paints in that way, but if you just get a regular spray paint, and you just do layers, and if you want to have a wipe to hand, you can always wipe it off within the first minute or so, no matter what the spray paints. That's good. Okay, so I'm using copper down the sides, you just saw, because I want to bring out the copper which is in the fluid art painting below. I'm doing it on the side, and you can just see how it marries it up. Now what I tend to do here is I think, right, because I want to keep the painting blues and copper, and a tiny bit of white on the planets and black, and a tiny bit of pink, I'm literally just using the colours intuitively that will highlight and continue that theme. I don't like a huge amount of different colours, but sometimes I like blending. It depends. Like, this is quite a simple palette, and the depth of colour for me just feels right. And in this one I'm not really using any extra pink. I'm just using some blue and copper. So I'll leave you with some music for a little while, and I'll come back shortly to give you a few more hints and tips.
Dare to be a dreamer.
you to hop across, if you haven't already, and see Kim's channel. Let's go and see what she's created today. I'm really excited to see. And don't forget that your art is a piece of you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to my beautiful art community. Love you all. And I can't wait to see what you're creating. Take care now. See you soon, I hope. Bye.